নির্বাচন নিয়ে প্রতিক্রিয়া জানাতে ব্রিফিং করছেন বিদেশি পর্যবেক্ষকরা। সরাসরি চলে যাচ্ছে সেখানে আমরা।
Observing the election day focused on the procedural aspect of the parliamentary election. So we haven't got the chance to look at the whole electoral environment since the call for election. So our comments regarding today is only focused on today observation.
অটোমেটিক বিকাশ করতে সেট করুন অটোপে। বিকাশ থাকলে আর কি লাগে?
We visited a number of centers in Dhaka and surrounding areas like Tongi. In all centers visited, we noticed quiet and peaceful environment, not only in the voting center, but also commuting between voting centers, in the streets and the roads approaching the center as well. The procedures we observed in the election commission, in the election centers, voting centers, were very simple and very straightforward. It was easy for the voters, I mean citizens, to go there and cast their votes. And I timed the voting time per voter. It ranges between 1 minute 15 seconds to 2 minutes 30 seconds. That depends on age, of course, and gender, and so on and so forth. But this is very good by international standard. Also, we noticed that staff in the polling center are well informed, and not only that, but well trained to deal with the voting process. We noticed also a gender balance in the within polling staff. So there were, a balanced representation of staff in the voting centers, male, female. One very most important remark I noticed personally is the efficient use of available physical resources. We visited a number of schools, colleges, and one university, I think, and one hospital. I mean, the maximum use of spaces available with modest physical facilities were used to the maximum, and I want to commend the Election Commission for that, as well as the staff. Presiding officers in all voting centers were competent and enjoyed leadership qualities. Parties, candidate agents were happy about the voting process, as well as all citizens we interviewed and talked to. And we were impressed by the fact that people were bringing their kids along with them to share the experience. In summary, I want to commend the experience we shared today with the Election Commission and with the Bengali people, and again I thank you very much for having offering me the chance to participate in this glorious day. Thank you very much.
دكتور انا حكيت عنك بس انت بدك تحكي قبل الدور. خلاص حكيت خلص.
All right. So we can take, I mean, my colleague from Jordan is here as well, so we can take any questions and we'll be happy to answer them.
Who will be
As you said, you observed the procedures of the election, and you are very happy the way it has been done. But I'd like to know what are the voters' turnout in terms of other countries. You have observed the elections in other countries.
You mean compared to other countries? Can I have so I can answer the rest of all the questions? Thank you. حبيب الله يسعدك، بالعكس شرف كبير. Yes.
Okay. You know, some violence is happening outside of Dhaka. Do you have any concern about that or any experience? Any comment on it?
Okay.
Hello, here. In most places, we can see that there were only ruling parties, workers and leaders in the foreign centers, and no other candidates were seen in the foreign centers. Have you find this thing?
Can you repeat your question, please? Repeat your question.
Yeah, in most places, we can see there are only ruling parties, leaders and workers in the polling centers, but no other parties candidates were seen in the polling centers. Have you find these things?
Can I answer the first three so I, Listen, to respond to the question about your election compared to other elections. I came recently from Zimbabwe. And it was contested elections again, and boycotted by the West. As I said in my very first statement, we are here to judge the voting process, where the voting center were opened according to international standard, where voters allow access, whether the staff were competent, and whether the closing and counting is good. We haven't approached the closing and counting yet.
That's right.
So this is how we build a picture about what we see. So far, your election, you should be proud of the process, voting process. As people of Bangladesh, you should be proud of the election commission. I'm not here to judge the political environment. This is not my duty. To do that, you have to live in the country at least minimum for 1 month to get to know, the political landscape. I'm not a politician. I represent a Central Election Commission in Palestine. What you do, guys, here in Bangladesh and Dhaka is exactly like we do in Palestine. It's exactly how it's being done in Jordan, which I quite know about Jordan Election Commission, and within the Arab world. So we all follow the international standard for that. As I said, in our way, we haven't noticed any sign of violence. All roads leading to voting center were, I was wondering why shops are closed. Nobody in the street. The city was quiet, as well as the voting centers again were quiet. And we talked to people who voted and people who were as party agents, as observers, and they were all happy and content about that. We didn't ask political party leader or candidate leader whether they are representing the ruling party or not representing other parties. So I cannot answer that question. I'm sorry.
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Rizvin Awaz, working in Channel I. Thank you so much for all the pain you have taken to observe this election. This election is very much important for Bangladesh. As there are geopolitical issues, many pressures from outside Bangladesh. So why do you think this election was so important for you to come here? Number one. Number two, our Prime Minister this morning, after casting her vote, she told that her only intention is to... can you hear?
The second portion of your question.
Okay. After casting her vote, our Prime Minister this morning told that her only intention is to give back the power of choosing candidate by the people. So you have visited many centers. What is your observation regarding this matter? Thank you.
الثاني بتجاوب عليه انت سياسي. Okay. I was asked this question twice yesterday. You are coming from a country under war. Is it that important to come to Bangladesh? Were you forced to come to Bangladesh? Were you forced by the government of Bangladesh to come? No, sir. We have stronger ties with Bangladesh, Palestine, Bangladesh, and we received invitation. As I told you, 3 months ago I was in Zimbabwe we were receiving invitations. So whenever we have invitation, we respond to invitation. I came from the West Bank, which is not a war zone like Gaza. So I was able to cross to Jordan and flying to Bangladesh through Kuwait. So I enjoyed the liberty of movement, unlike Gazans people. So whenever we are invited to a country that, we have good relationship with them, we go. I'm here in another hat. I represent also, I'm by coincidence, the head of the executive office of the Arab electoral management bodies. And that body represents 12 member states. So in my report, I will be reporting to my country. I will be reporting to that organization. So yes, it's important to respond to invitation. The most important thing is to share experience, your experience, and the experience we saw today with our colleagues in Bangladesh. So we learn from each other during these visits. It's not political visits. It's not a show visit. It's professional visits. Your second part of the question, I already in my opening statement I replied to that. So we were happy. Now regarding with whether the Prime Minister will give power to, that's for you. That's for the government to do, not for me. What we saw today in summary is a good process, good voting process in a voting day.
Okay, thank you. We have a lot of speakers.
I'm Beaushion from the Business Post. You visited the polling centers and you found very good environment, good process. It's okay. What is your observation as an international observer? The turnout of the votes is satisfactory. Till 3 p.m., 26% votes were casted. What is your opinion as an international opinion? Is it satisfactory?
You are talking about turnover, yes? Participation rate. I don't know what's the participation rate till now. In the early morning when we were touring the centers, it was very low. And people were expecting that percentage to rise up. But listen, if you are registered in the voter list, and I know registry is not obligatory here in Bangladesh, and you decline of going voting, the percentage goes from the register, and nobody is forcing anybody to vote. You take certain countries where voting, you have to vote by law. So I cannot comment whether it's 10%, 15%. That's a message from the audience to the certain election. And that message should be analyzed by politicians, by academia in Bangladesh rather than an international observer like me. But we saw so many elections. In Jordan, for example. In Jordan, which is my colleague, 35% election. 35%. So, it was good election as well. And things are stable until, they are planning for next election next year, I think, or so. So one cycle, rounded with 30%, 35%. So it has to be analyzed, studied by politicians and the research center like yourself and maybe universities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
thank you,
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
The next group will come.
يلا
أبدعت
هلا
رجعني قلم يا شكرا أبدعت
Sir, you will speak or?